We are, as Carl Sagan said in his book Cosmos, the local embodiment of a consciousness grown to self-awareness. We are star stuff pondering the stars. And I would add that we are also earth stuff pondering the earth. And I think my novel is an exercise in that pondering. To look at the earth from space is a bit like a child looking into a mirror and realizing for the first time that the person in the mirror is herself. What we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. And what we do to life on earth, human and otherwise, we do to ourselves. Our loyalties, Sagan says, are to the species and to the planet. We need to speak for Earth, he says. I would like to dedicate this prize, therefore, to everybody who does speak for and not against the Earth.
Hi, I finished it. I finished it at one of my local cafes a couple nights ago. And oh my god, okay, one of you commented under my book haul that you can't wait to see my thoughts on Orbital. So here I am making a whole video on my thoughts on Orbital, our 2024 Booker Prize winner book. The awards were announced on November 12th, 2024, and this book wins the 54th annual award, and it is the first book set in space. I'm kind of a science nerd, so I'm there. I'm also just waking up, so it sound like I just rolled out of bed because I quite literally did. But anyway, I am not gonna lie, I'm gonna be very transparent. I have notes. I have pages of notes for this video. Though I want this to be very organic, I have a lot to say, so I need a guide. Sorry, that's just how my brain works. This novel is a tiny one that chronicles astronauts and cosmonauts from America, Japan, Britain, Italy, and Russia over the span of 24 hours as their spacecraft orbits around the Earth. So far away from home, the characters have never felt so connected to its liveliness as the death of a mother reaches them, tsunamis and natural disasters hit their homes, which they can observe from the atmosphere, and they yearn to be with their lovers. The characters all merge in different ways. They kind of share the same internal monologues at times, and they all really contemplate the miracle it is that they were even created. So it's a lot that this book deals with. The themes in this book were done so well, first of all, but Samantha Harvey is just a gorgeous, gorgeous writer. I have tabbed and dog-eared some pages that I want to read to you guys, so this is probably going to be a little bit of a long video. Apologies in advance. But one of you guys said that you wanted to hear my thoughts, so number one, humanity as Earth, Earth as humanity. Samantha Harvey really wrote this book and this narrative in the manner of merging human consciousness with Earth's natural systems. I'm trying to explain this in the best way that I can. Obviously, the book does a much better job explaining all of these ideas than I will. So, I'm going to read you some quotes. Per usual, I always do this in like every single video I'm reading quotes. I'm sorry. At times, descriptions of activities on the spaceship overlap with human activity on Earth at times. Personal description of memories and internal monologues overlap descriptions of what they're observing going on Earth. The first example is a lover back home overlaps with the description of Earth itself and human activity on it on page 133. To bring to mind Lincoln in the Ice Age and the hieroglyphs of ancient Egypt and whatever grand things had shaped the earth in which she wished to convey to an alien audience, each thought cascaded into the dark brows and proud nose of her lover, the wonderful articulation of his hands, and the way he listened like a bird, and how they had touched so often without touching. And then the spiking sound as she thought of the great city of Alexandria and of nuclear disarmament, and the symphony of Earth's tide, and the squareness of his jaw, and the way he spoke with such bright precision so that everything he said was an epiphany and discovery, and the way he looked at her as though she were the epiphany he kept on having. First of all, let me stop you right there. Samantha, I need you in the romance genre. I do. This is a type of romance that I search for in the romance genre, and I rarely find it. Samantha, I need you there. Okay, continuing on. Another example is the death of a mother reveals a bygone foreshadowing of the decision to become an astronaut, which the quote for this is on page 87. It wasn't until her mother gave her the photo before this mission that she remembered those thoughts and felt their charge and the force of the past, and how the past is so stealthy in making the future, because she sure, looking back at this photo, had generated her first thought of space. And then lastly, the fear of death brings comfort from a wife, extolling the possibility of becoming stardust. So on page 73, take heart, his wife once said, if you perish up there, the million bits of you will be orbiting the earth. That's a good thought, isn't it? As well, Samantha Harvey does a really, really good job writing the idea of a borderless world as astronauts. Pause because commotion for the outfit right now. And the stars align. Back to our regularly scheduled program. Samantha does a really good job writing the borderless world, the idea of a borderless world. Obviously from space you can't see the different states and the different countries and continents and borders and walls that humanity has put up within themselves, and all of the division that's going on. Which brings us to point 2, politics impact on the Earth. On the spacecraft, the characters are very much so nationless and one unified front. On page 28 it says, they have talked before about a feeling they often have, a feeling of merging, that they are not quite distinct from one another nor their spacecraft. Whatever they were before they came here, whatever their differences in training or background, in motive or character, whatever country they hail from, and however their nations clash, they are equalized here by the delicate might of their spaceship. Though the characters feel nationless, borderless, together, the impact that politics has had on the world is extremely noticeable from space. This honestly was one of my favorite portions of the book, so I'm probably going to read a really big portion of this to you. Pages 110 and 111, by the way. Instead, they come to see that it's not a pantomime, or it's not just that. It's force so great that it has shaped every single thing on the surface of the earth that they thought from here so human-proof. Every swirling neon or red algal bloom in a polluted, warming, overfished Atlantic is crafted in large part by the hand of politics and human choice. The hand of politics is so visible from their vantage point that they don't know how they could have missed it at first. It's utterly manifest in every detail of the view. Just as the sculpting force of gravity has made a sphere of the planet and pushed and pulled the tides which shaped the coast, so has politics sculpted and shaped and left evidence of itself everywhere. You know what I'm saying? My annotation for that was literally Christ on a bike. And this is another quote that I really, really love that somewhat relates to the whole political theme within this book. It's on page 108. Before long, for all of them, a desire takes hold. It's the desire, no, the need, fueled by fervor, to protect this huge yet tiny earth. This thing of such miraculous and bizarre loveliness, this thing that is, given the poor choice of alternatives, so unmistakably home. An unbounded place, a suspended jewel, so shockingly bright. Samantha Harvey has a way with words. Genuinely. Going back to the quote that I read on pages 110 and 111 about the impact that human politics has had on the earth and human choice has had on the earth, that kind of made me think of free will. What does free will make me think of? Creation, God, a creator. There is definitely some religious topics in this book, which Samantha covered so well. So, part 3, religion. Like I said, with creation comes the question of a creator. No matter what you believe in, what name you give to what you believe, or whether or not you believe, the belief and non-belief come from the same place. It's rooted in the same creation. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about when it comes to this one. I am definitely going to read this whole section to you. I'm just being honest. Pages 66 and 67. Nell wants sometimes to ask Sean how it is he can be an astronaut and believe in God. A creationist God, that is. But she knows what his answer will be. He asks how it is she can be an astronaut and not believe in God. They draw a blank. She'd point out of the port and starboard windows where the darkness is endless and ferocious, where solar systems and galaxies are violently scattered, where the field view is so deep and multidimensional that the warp of space-time is something you can almost see. Look, she'll say. What made that but some heedless, hurling, beautiful force? And Sean would point out of the port and starboard windows where the darkness is endless and ferocious at exactly the same violently scattered solar system and galaxies, and at the same deep and multidimensional field of view, warped with space-time, and he would say, what made that but some heedful, hurling, beautiful force? Is that all the difference there is between their views then? A bit of heed. Is Sean's universe just the same as hers, but made with care to a design? Hers an occurrence of nature and his an artwork? The difference seems both trivial and insurmountable. And then Harvey goes on to kind of draw this, I guess, path to something that Nell experienced on Earth. She remembers walking around the wood with her father on one winter's day when she was 9 or 10, and there was a full-size tree that they almost walked straight past until they realized it was man-made. It was a sculpture made from tens of thousands of sticks glued together, woven to form the appearance of knots in bark, in bowls, and branches. You couldn't tell it apart from the other bare, wintry trees, except that once you knew it was an artwork, it pulsed with a different energy, a different atmosphere. This feels to her what separates her universe and Sean's. A tree made by the hands of nature and a tree made by the hands of an artist. It's barely any difference at all, and the profoundest difference in the world. Why she write so good? I think for me, when it comes to religion, when it comes to the topic of religion, and I'm going to read from my essay because I did write a whole book report on this book because I'm a nerd. If there is no God, no matter the name that we've given God, if I'm calling God the wrong name, I will not regret the endless casting of gratitude into our sufficient universe, into the energy of creation, that because of it, by a small percentage of chance, humanity is walking the planet. I am walking the planet. I will not regret the love and somewhat blind optimism I've harbored for creation. The rivers that run wildly while being guzzled by humanity's greed. The sparkling gray gulls that are eating away at coasts. The tiny curious creatures that are constantly crawling, squirming, running, flying. And the beastly ancient trees. And my people, humanity. Singing barefoot, whimsical humanity who are vandals of the plants we grew, honeybees and chimpanzees we've befriended, and species we've given names to. Humanity who, if what we do to the earth we do to ourselves, are in the midst of committing a slow suicide, and who, if what we do to life on earth we do to ourselves, are in the process of formulating our own mass extinction. Orbital. It's a timeless labor of love to both the universe itself and our little home that's tucked snugly away into the universe. Earth is such a small part of this universe. I don't think we have really comprehended that. Earth is one of the smallest planets in our solar system. Earth is tiny. compared to this universe. And you guys know that my favorite authors tend to be authors with chunky, mesmerizing prose with lots of commas and lots of description and lots of metaphors and symbolism. For example, Virginia Woolf is literally my favorite author of all time. Harvey is definitely one of those authors though that can write mesmerizing, thick, chunky prose. She has written this much needed novel in such a profound and beguiling way. Her Booker Prize was much deserved. I feel like a teacher with a stack of paper. From Gabby Woods, the chief of executive of the Booker Prize. From a fantastically strong shortlist, they have chosen their winner. A small, strange, beautiful, and mighty book. Orbital wins the prize in a year of geopolitical crisis, likely to be the warmest year in recorded history. And I'm done, okay? I've read all of my pages of notes. I've read literally every single quote that I loved from this book. I wanted to end this video by saying that in regards to religion, in regards to human politics, free will, human choice, and Earth being human consciousness being the Earth. Earth is our current heaven. It is the face of an exalted lover, a mother waiting for her children to return. Earth is the lively beat of our heart. The trees within it are breath. Without it, we have nothing, and without it, we are nothing. Go read this book. Yay! Like Samantha said, I love the girls that speak for the earth. So if you're one of those girlies, hi. Anyway, absolutely love this book. 5 out of 5. Go read it. Thanks for watching. Bye.